Hey students, happy Sunday. I'm glad that you came and joined us this afternoon or evening or whenever you're watching. Today is the 24th. Let's hop right into it. Proverbs 24. Don't envy evil people or desire their company, for their hearts plot violence and their words always stir up trouble. A house is built by wisdom and becomes strong through good sense. Through knowledge its rooms are filled with all sorts of precious riches and valuables. The wise are mightier than the strong, and those with knowledge grow stronger and stronger. So don't go to war without wise guidance. Victory depends on having many advisors. Wisdom is too lofty for fools. Among leaders at the city gate, they have nothing to say. A person who plans evil will get a reputation as a troublemaker. The schemes of a fool are sinful. Everyone detests a mocker. If you fail under pressure, your strength is too small. Rescue those who are unjustly sentenced to die. Save them as they stagger to their death. Don't excuse yourself by saying, "Look, we didn't know," for God understands all hearts, and he sees you. He who guards your soul knows you knew. He will repay all people as their actions deserve. My child, eat honey, for it is good, and honeycomb is sweet to the taste. In the same way, wisdom is sweet to your soul. If you find it, you will have a bright future, and your hopes will not be cut short. Don't wait in ambush at the home of the godly, and don't raid the house where the godly live. The godly may trip 7 times, but they will get up again. But one disaster is enough to overthrow the wicked. Don't rejoice when your enemies fall. Don't be happy when they stumble, for the Lord will be displeased with you and will turn his anger away from them. Don't fret because of evildoers. Don't envy the wicked, for evil people have no future. The light of the wicked will be snuffed out. My child, fear the Lord and the king. Don't associate with rebels, for disaster will hit them suddenly. Who knows what punishment will come from the Lord and the king? Here are some further sayings of the wise. It is wrong to show favoritism when passing judgment. A judge who says to the wicked, "You are innocent," will be cursed by many people and denounced by the nations. But it will go well for those who convict the guilty. A rich blessing will be showered on them. An honest answer is like a kiss of friendship. Do your planning and prepare your fields before building your house. Don't testify against your neighbors without cause. Don't lie about them. And don't say, "Now I can pay them back for what they've done to me. I will get even with them." I walked by the field of a lazy person, the vineyard of one with no common sense. I saw that it was overgrown with nettles, it was covered with weeds, and its walls were broken down. Then, as I looked and thought about it, I learned this lesson. A little extra sleep, a little more slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest. Then poverty will pounce on you like a bandit. Scarcity will attack you like an armed robber. All right, so going back to the beginning, verse 3 and 4, you've heard the saying before probably, a house becomes a home. Now, the nice thing about English is that we have different words for those things. The connotation is that a house is somewhere that you just go, but a home is somewhere where you live and you enjoy, right? Home is where the heart is. And basically what this saying is a house becomes a home through sustained wisdom. And then the next 2 verses 5 and 6, talks about true strength and how that only comes from following godly wisdom, from fearing the Lord, from learning and from following that wisdom. That's where true strength comes from. Jumping down to verse 11, 11 through 12, really talks about God's heart for justice. Students, God has a heart for justice. And covering your eyes and refusing to see needy people is not a good enough reason to not be working with them, right? At the end of verse 12, he says, "He who guards your soul knows you knew." You're not going to slip a fast one on God. He understands. He knows. The key verse in Proverbs 24 is Proverbs 24:16. It says, "The godly may trip 7 times, but they will get up again. But one disaster is enough to overthrow the wicked." The reason I think that's a key verse, and I want to highlight that specifically, in the midst of adversity, we understand as Christians, wisdom tells us that it's not going to be a cakewalk. We're not promised prosperity and for all things to just go our way. We don't have to worry about anything. That's not what God promises us. But we are guaranteed that God will walk with us through adversity. And though those adversities may happen once, twice, and even 7 times, like the number of completion in the Bible, we will get up again. But as soon as one trial comes, a wicked person, nah, I'm done. I'm going to let this just destroy me. So I encourage you, students, when you face adversity in your life, it may happen once, it may happen twice. You may hit bumps in the road. We're not guaranteed a cakewalk, but we are told to get up again and to persevere and to keep going. Verses 17 and 18 talks about, enemies and how we're not supposed to just cheer when people go down. It's a hard word, especially if you take it to heart and think about the people in your life that you really don't like or the people that you really don't want to succeed. Pray for those who persecute you. Again, that's a hard and that's a convicting word for each one of us. And I think it should be convicting. Jumping on down to verse 26, it says, an honest answer is like a kiss of friendship. It's so much better to be honest with someone than to just tell them what they want to hear. Being honest with people will be helpful to them, and though it might be hard in the short term, in the long term, you're going to really be glad that you were honest with them and didn't just say what they wanted to hear. Verse 27 essentially can be summed up with plan, don't just do. Just do your planning and prepare your fields before building your house. Plan things out. Spend a few seconds when you're about to do something, be like, all right, how are we going to execute this? And for your life going forward, for your future jobs, for the relationships that you're going to have, for the sports teams and stuff. Verses 28 and 29, I want to encourage you students not to gossip even about the people you hate. Keep in mind, it's pretty easy for us to not gossip about the people that we like or, the people that we're indifferent with. But, oh man, those people that we really don't like, let's have at them. Let's just bury them under the ground. Not according to Scripture. That, again, I think is a little bit convicting for us because it's so easy for us to share bad things about people that we don't like, whether or not we know they're true, rather than giving them the benefit of the doubt or not gossiping at all. Gossip is not helpful for anyone. Verses 30 to 34 talk about a vineyard and a field of a lazy person. Now, I have a question for you. How's your vineyard looking? And you might be like, Josh, you're dumb. I don't have a vineyard. Hey, maybe some of you who live out in the country have a little farm or a little vineyard, but most of us don't have any vineyards, right? So what do I mean when I ask you, what does your vineyard look like? Well, what does your bedroom look like? What does your schoolwork look like? What does your job look like? What's your legacy on your activity or your sports team or the things that you're doing? Is your vineyard your activity of choice or not of choice, of requirement or necessity, whether that's a job or keeping your room clean? What does your life look like? Are the weeds of laziness and lack of self-discipline closing in on things that you care about or you should care about? That's my question for you students. What does your vineyard look like? Are you taking care of it? Are you keeping things clean? Are you giving the effort and the energy and the time that things deserve in your life? Or are you being lazy and just letting it get overgrown and letting it go? There's a wise way to conduct your life, and that's by doing the hard work and keeping up the maintenance on the things in your life and spending time being disciplined and valuing things that really matter. Or are you just letting it go? That's the other way to go. So students, I just want to encourage you, look after your vineyard. If there's one word that you can take from your youth pastor today, how's your vineyard? So that's my question for you today on Sunday. I'm really excited for the next few days coming up. Thank you for joining us today.